Hi, guys. That sounds exciting. Hi, guys. Good catch. Um, yeah, my face, but I'm already sweating. Yeah, you guys are awesome. Lauren, really appreciate you. Like you and Lauren have just been incredible friends. In fact, I wouldn't say you guys are just friends. You've become family to me. That's why I call your daughter my nephew sometimes, a niece. uh, so I love you guys and I appreciate you. Sweet. I'm here to preach. So let's talk about Jesus. How about that? Are you guys ready? Okay, but before we talk about Jesus, let's talk a little bit about me. No, just a little bit. So, uh, I my mom isn't here this main meeting. Ah, she was here last meeting, so I'll talk about her now. I'll say the things that I didn't say first meeting. She's with the kids. She serves at Life Kids. If you have got, she's incredible. If you have kids, just so you know, we've got a program for them where they get to know more about Jesus, and it's incredible. You want to send your kids. I see a Lakers fan there. Shout out to you, man. Like you're the goat, the real goat. No, I'm kidding. But we need to meet after this. Who's been watching soccer? FIFA World Cup. Any Brazilian fans? Any Spanish fans? Uh, Argentina. Oh, there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit. Hey, don't boo other fans, man. Come on. We all grown up here. We've been doing a whole series about let's grow up. And you're out here booing. English fans, it's coming home. It's coming home. I can't take y'all seriously, man. We'll be praying for you. If you go out on the left, there's an English prayer meeting there. If you're supporting England teams, the England national squad, we are there for you. Okay, I'm gonna start preaching. So it wasn't about me, it was about soccer. It's a family moment. Okay, so growing up, I'm so grateful for a lot of ways that I grew up, the opportunities that I got, and what my mom was able to do with the little that she had. But when I was younger, I stayed with my grandfather, and such an incredible man, loves Jesus, just like one of those guys you want to be around. Not all, sometimes, but sometimes not. I remember I wouldn't say I was a naughty person. Like I just did a few naughty things. Not like naughty, I wouldn't be like, my mom agreed first meeting, right? You can approve? Yeah, my mom said I wasn't naughty. I did naughty things. One of the naughtiest things that I did, I was actually in grade 4, grade 5. So this is quite a big thing to do. And I started seeing people get tattoos. So I would see on TV or like everybody's getting a tattoo. Like this looks really cool. Like, and they all like big and strong. Like tattoo people are so cool. I'm short and small and skinny, but maybe if I get a tattoo, I'll be big and strong like them. Amen to that. So I decided I would call my friends and we would all get tattoos. They thought it was a great idea, and I thought it was a great idea because I came up with it. Like, yo, we're gonna be big and strong together, and we're gonna form like some serious friendship over our tattoo bonding time. So what we basically did is we met up after school, and I would hold one of us would hold their skin like this, and then the other one would take a needle and just like slowly. They didn't get to the blood. Okay, it's okay, people. So they're like just the layer, like this, the outer layer. I'm not a doctor. I don't know what these things are called. Skin, yes, that. So hold like this, and the person goes, and I got my first tattoo. It was right there. My initials. It's just a scar now. I am big and strong, like you can see. uh, you can't really see it. I grew up, my biceps got too big. But so, hey guys, let's focus. We're talking about Jesus here. So that happened. And also in that story, so if you just do it like that, then nothing happens. It just dies because you didn't get to any layer of blood or anything. So it's just it disappears. So we found that if you get like, there was this little tree around the village that had like milk, yeah, white fluid. Ah, you know the vibes. Did you do it too? Could have been friends. Sorry. So we took that white stuff and put it around our skin. So yeah. So that happened, and then it was poisonous. So it was probably very dangerous. So days go by, and I'm realizing like, yeah, well, this is becoming a serious scar. So I'm walking around the house like this. So my grandfather doesn't see. Like I told you, he's a good man, but not when you're in his bedside. So I'm walking around like this, and eventually he senses something is off. He's like, come here, I come. And he opens and he sees. He's like, what have you done? I can't be like, it's a scar that happened at school. It's a whole letter, bruh. It says my initials. So I have no excuse. I'm like, I thought it was cool. Your cool got me a beating of my life. And a whole lot of other things happened after that. But Warren said it's too deep for me to share that stuff. But eventually it was all good. I had the scar. But I was thinking about it. I'm like, the lengths that we got to be accepted, to have friends and all those things. Obviously, that's an extreme. And I was grade 4. I wasn't really thinking seriously. But I think even at an older age, we go through so much length just to be accepted, just to have friends that will say, hey, you are part of us. I remember when I went to university and I finally got the opportunity of my life. My mom wanted me to get to varsity, and this is a big deal. I can finally study and make something of my family. But there was always that thing behind me that said, hey, you need to make friends. Like, part of my story is that I moved around a lot as a kid, so I never really had friendships that stuck for long. It was always, I'll tell you a little bit, and then you'll like me, and then we'll like each other, but it wasn't like deep, meaningful friendships. So I went to university with that still in me, and when I got there, I got into friendships. Not that I'm blaming my friends for that. I was also the initiator just to fit in. But I got into a whole lot of mess, and we can talk about this when you see me. It's not that important. But what is important is that I messed up my life in every single way I could possibly do. From my grades, from the things I did with my friends, with just so much regret and shame and guilt. I finally got home. And I need to tell you this, my mom, growing up, she was always my rock. She was always the woman that said, boy, you got it. You're going to change the world. You are incredible. I love you. You are not naughty. You just do naughty stuff. Like, that was my mom. She never wanted that to be my identity and who I was. But she was always my encourager. She went through great lengths for me to get to varsity, to get the opportunities that I had. She did everything she could possibly do with the resources that she had. And then I finally got home with shame on my face, embarrassment. And I get to the house. And my mom says, hey, we need to talk. I'm like, cool. And then we had a conversation. No, we didn't have a conversation. She spoke and I listened. That's all there was. And in that conversation, I don't remember a lot of what she said, but I remember this part. She said she is disappointed. She said, Wanga, you've let me down. I'm very, very disappointed. Now, my mom had never said those words to me. Never. Not that I can remember. Maybe she said them to me when I was a little baby, but I'm sure she didn't. But she had never said those words to me. And all of a sudden, all that tough guy that I had built up, like, I got this, I've got it all sorted out, I can figure out my life. I'm looking at the woman that was my only friend growing up to that point, telling me that she is disappointed. I've let her down. And over the next couple of days, I couldn't sleep. That's all I thought about. It was just processing in my head, ringing. I'm walking around, and that's all I'm thinking about. She's trying to talk to me. I can't even talk to her. I can't even see her the same anymore because those words are just there. And she starts thinking, maybe my child is depressed. I wasn't really depressed. I don't think so. I think I was just in my head a lot. But that's what she thought. And she did the only thing that a black mom does. I don't know about white moms, but black moms do when their kids mess up. She called the pastor, guys. Like seriously. Like you're gonna, not the one you eat. Yo, some people's faces are confused. The pastor, the one that preaches. She called the pastor on me. Like seriously. Yo, Pastor Warren. That's Warren, by the way. He wasn't even my pastor then. He was just a dude. So basically, I got called on to by just a dude to just a dude. Anyways, so Warren decides to come to my house. And he comes to see me. My mom tells me about it. And she's like, hell, the pastor is coming to see you. I'm like, I want to live at your house. I don't want you to kick me out. So it is what it is. So he comes to my house, and I had told myself, like, me, I'm strong. When this pastor guy comes here, he ain't getting nothing out of me. He doesn't know me. He might have dealt with a lot of people in the church, but me, he hasn't seen a guy like this, man. I'm tough. I got a tattoo. So he comes to see me, and he starts having a conversation with me. And you know, those moments when all the stuff that you've just put up just come crumbling down. And it all made sense. I've always grown up knowing about Jesus. My grandfather loved God, and I had some reverence for him. And there was like this reality that God exists, but I've never considered that Jesus could possibly be my friend. That Jesus could be my friend. And that's the title of my message today, that Jesus is our friend. That Jesus knew everything that I had done. In that moment, it made sense. He knew where I have been. He knew the lies I had told to my mom, the brokenness I've caused, the shame I was carrying, the disappointment, all of it. He knew all of it. And he still wanted me. And my greatest desire growing up was to be wanted. And in that moment, I wasn't face to face with Warren. I felt face to face with the creator of the universe through the person of Jesus. And he said, I want you. I want you to be my friend. And that day I said, yes, Jesus, I want to be your friend. I didn't know what that would look like. Some of the stuff I figured out as we go, how he's like and how he moves. And it's awesome. And we're going to navigate that. But I want to tell you today that I don't know how you came here, what your perspective about church is, or what your pain, or whatever, or who brought you here, or they dragged you here. Your mom was like, yo, boy, we need to go see a pastor, or whatever it was. But I want to let you know that today you can live through these doors knowing Jesus as your friend. Would you open your heart to it? Would you open yourself to it and say, man, I'm going to drop the tough guy act. I want a friend. And I believe you can find him in the man, Jesus. There's a story of a man. I think he was a lot like me. His name is Zacchaeus. You guys heard of that story? Yeah, he was a short man. He was a short guy. But beyond that, it's actually quite interesting because the Bible doesn't go into great lengths to tell us about the stature of people. So if the Bible is saying Zacchaeus was short, he must have been really short. It was quite a very important thing to say, you know. The Bible doesn't go, Jesus was like this tall. But with Zacchaeus, it goes, Zacchaeus was a short man. But I would love to believe for us short people, he might have been short, but he had big brains, right? Yeah, he got big brains. Actually, another thing about him is that he was a chief tax collector. Now, that might not mean much to you guys, but in the day, there were tax collectors. And basically what they did was collect tax for Rome to the Jews. But those tax collectors were Jewish people. So talk about sellout, guys. Like, that's the biggest kind of sellout that could possibly happen. And they were hated. They were hated by Jewish people because they took money from their own families. Imagine, you're like, I raised you. I changed your nappies, and you're going to come here telling me about tax? But those were the kind of people tax collectors was. But Zacchaeus wasn't just a tax collector. He had done all the house visits. He had done his time, and he became right there at the top of the food chain. He was the chief tax collector. He was the guy that sends all the little Jewish minions to run around and collect tax while he sits there and watch and be like, well done, man, good job. And now and then they could just put some in their pockets. That was Zacchaeus' story. He was a hated guy. He wasn't just doing naughty stuff. The man was naughty. He was a terrible man. He was a crazy dude. But Zacchaeus is in this moment where he starts hearing about Jesus, that there is a new guy in town. And this guy is quite a big deal because people are following him around wherever he goes. So where Jesus would go, crowds would be following around. Some of them wanted to just see. Some of them had a heart to actually experience what is going on. And some of them were just judging the whole situation to find ways that they could trap him and say different things about him. But Zacchaeus wasn't really any of those guys. He was just a dude that went, hey, maybe I should check this guy out. That's all there was to it. I'm a big deal. Let me check him out. And Jesus is coming up with the crowd and all of that. And Zacchaeus decides, yeah, I'm a problem solver. I might be short, but I can solve problems. What does a short man do when he wants to have a view? He goes and climbs a tree. So Zacchaeus decides, I'm going to go climb a tree. So when Jesus comes here, I'll be able to have a good view and kind of see what's up with this guy. So Jesus comes and Zacchaeus is up on his tree and he's watching. And this is where we pick up this story of Zacchaeus. Let me read a little bit of it since I've summarized most of it. Are you guys still around? Are we good? Are you loving Zacchaeus so far? You lie. So when this happened, he climbed a tree. And when Jesus came to the place, he looked up and said to him, Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house. Zacchaeus, hurry and come down, for I must stay at your house. We're going to continue the rest of the story just now. But these are such profound words Jesus uses here. Hurry, Zacchaeus, and come down, for I must come to your house. This is strong language. One is hurry, two is must. Like, Jesus, if you're going to come to my house, say, can I please visit you today? But I must come to your house today, bruh. Like, I'm coming. That's quite strong language. But what it is telling us here is that there is something Jesus is doing and unfolding in the story where Zacchaeus thought, yeah, I got up on that tree and so that people could see and Jesus noticed me. It's all about me. It was actually nothing about him. I believe that Zacchaeus would have been in a crowd and Zacchaeus would have still said, Zacchaeus, I'm coming to your house. But Zacchaeus was on that tree. And Jesus was on an assignment to meet Zacchaeus where he is. And Zacchaeus comes down and he has a moment with Jesus at his house, which leads me to my first point. Jesus longs to be your friend. Jesus longs to be your friend. Zacchaeus, come down from the tree you are in. Now that might just seem like words Jesus said, but Jesus is inviting him that where he is not where he's supposed to be. Where he is not where he's supposed to be. Zacchaeus, come down from that tree. So what tree are you climbing today? What tree are you on today? Is it religion? Are you going, maybe you were introduced to Jesus and you were like, yeah, I'm friends with Jesus. And then you slowly moved away to religion. Like, oh, now Jesus, I just need to do stuff for you. If I work really hard and do this, then I'll be up on this tree. And then you will be like, yeah, you are my son who I'm very proud of. But Jesus is saying, you can't sustain that. Hurry, come down from that tree. I want to come to your home. So what tree are you on? Jesus longs to come to your house. He longs for you to experience his love. He longs for you to come and be with him and know what he's like and be changed by the way he is. Jesus wants you to know him as a friend. But you must hurry and come down from that tree, whatever that tree is. Maybe you've developed a victim kind of mentality. No, life just happens to me. That's who I am. Things just happen, and I'm so sorry for what you might have experienced and went through. But I can tell you, there's a friend in Jesus that says that's not your identity. That is not who you are. I need you to come down and experience me so you could know who you truly are. Maybe Maybe you come to church and you serve every week and you work hard and you do all these things, and Craig even gives you a high five because you do it so well. But deep down, you know that there's something going on that you haven't dealt with. And it's not going to come through serving more, doing harder, being better. It's going to come through humility and coming down from that tree and saying, Jesus, here I am. I want to come and meet you as a friend. He longs to have you in your world. He longs to make your heart his home so you could know him as a friend. So you could know him as a friend. See, Jesus is such an important thing because Jesus is our master. Jesus is our Lord. Jesus is the miracle worker. Where he walked, he was making miracles. He was doing all these things. Jesus is so much. And we could spend a whole lot of time talking about what Jesus is for us. But I am hoping that today you could go, Jesus is my friend. That you could say those intimate words, that Jesus is my friend. That you could invite Jesus to come and celebrate you, your biggest moments when things are going well, and your lowest moments when you just feel like there's no one around to support you, to be there for you. That you would know that Jesus is your friend and he longs for you to know him as a friend. But why? Why does Jesus want to be your friend? Why does Jesus want you to know him as your friend? Why does Jesus do this? It says that in John 15, a person really loves his friends if he dies so that they can live. Nobody could love any more than that. He continues to say, you are my friends if you do what I command you. No longer do I call you servants, for the servant does not know what his master is doing. But I have called you friends. Why? Because for all that I have heard from my Father, I have made known to you. Why does Jesus want to be your friend? Because Jesus wants you to know the Father. He wants you to know God as a Father. For the longest time, I thought the Old Testament God was always angry all the time, ready to punish anyone that comes along the way. You did bad. You did bad. Wah! Get better. But then when I started reading the Bible, I started hearing words in the Bible like, his love endures forever. And I'm like, this is in the Old Testament. And this morning, Craig says, do you know that God called Moses his friend? I'm like, what? I didn't know that. This is the Old Testament Bible we are talking about. And Jesus did not come to do anything different from that. He came so that you could know God as a Father. That He's a loving Father. But for you to know God as a Father, you need to experience the friendship of Jesus. You need to know Jesus as a friend. Jesus could have stood there and looked at Zacchaeus and said, you should be better. I've seen your sins. I know how much tax you've taken. You are a bad man, Zacchaeus, and you would have been right. But a friend, that's something different. He goes, I see you. I know everything you've done. I know all about you, but I still want to come to your home. Let's talk about this at your house. How about that? I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to make you feel guilty. I'm not going to make you feel like you don't belong. I'm not going to point fingers at you. I'm going to come to your home and you're going to experience my love, and something is going to happen after that. He wants you to know him as a friend so that you could know the Father. But you know what he says before that? In verse 12, I don't have it up, so that we could love one another well. That's all there is. We know Jesus is a friend. The Father is revealed to us, and we love each other in a way that we possibly couldn't. And now, today, I call Warren one of my best mates. Not like he's one of his family to me. I love him. But I can tell you a huge part of my story is that I actually did not like white people at all. They didn't scare me. I just didn't like them for a lot of childhood experiences and trauma and things that had happened to me and how I saw the world. But God also has a good sense of humor because he sent a white pastor to come talk to me about him. And today he's one of my best mates. And today I love white people. Not because sorry, you didn't know. I love them. I love you guys so much. But that wasn't because of my doing. That wasn't because I tried really hard. I had prejudices that were so deep that needed to be dealt with. Warren could have came there and pointed all of them out, or you could have shown me the love of a friend in Jesus. And that radically changes me and changes my heart. And now I can go, you are my family, no matter who you are. And you might be up on that tree today with prejudice, with hate because of your experiences. And it might be real. You've gone through some stuff. But I want to tell you, you can meet Jesus as a friend, and he will radically change how you see people. I speak that because I have seen it happen in my life, and I've seen it happen around me, and I see it every single time happening in this community. Never thought I would be in a church that's being led by a 62-year-old white man. But here I am. And he's one of the best leaders I've ever met, if not the best, other than Jesus. But he is. But I would have missed out on all those opportunities if I didn't realize that Jesus is my friend and he changes everything around me. Next thing I want to talk about is that friendship with Jesus changes us. You know what? It would be cool if I left here and said, yeah, you're friends with Jesus. You're cool. Just go do your business, do whatever you want, and we move on. But actually, we can't have a moment with Jesus and live unchanged. See what happens to Zacchaeus in this story that we are in. I will paraphrase again. It says that once Zacchaeus was invited once Jesus invited himself into Zacchaeus' house, and all of these things happen, and he has a conversation, a moment with Jesus. He gets dinner with Jesus, and all of a sudden he says, hey, everybody, listen to me. I've got an announcement to make. I am going to give back he doesn't say back all the. He says 400% of what I might have stolen, I will give it back. 400%, guys. That's 4 times. He said, if I've stolen from you, I'll give back 4 times what I had taken. That's a radical change. I don't know if you guys understand how radical this is. It's radical. It's radical. This man came from, I want all the money, I want all the stuff, you give it to me. And that's how he lived to, hey, I want to be generous. I want to give. And I want to give not just 10%, but I want to give 400%. Radical. I don't know what Jesus said at that table. We are never told what he said. I want to know so I can tell you, so you can give 400%. That's a joke, okay? Yo, I'm going to get attacked for that one. But I want to know. But what I do know is that he had one conversation, one moment, and one meal with Jesus, and he left a totally different person. So what would happen to you, to me, to us as a church, if we had those moments? Not the ones where we pretend like everything is all good and we got it all together and we're trying to be here up on our own trees and judging others and saying, Jesus, did you see them? But where we have those intimate moments with Jesus, Jesus, it's tough lately. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to make these decisions. I don't know what's going on. You can paint the picture of what that would be for you. But if you had those moments, not just once a month or once a church every Sunday, but every single week when you get home, in the mundane, in the office, when you're doing business with people, you are going, Jesus, but what are you saying? I want to hear your voice. I want to know you as a father. I want to know you as a friend. What does a friend respond in this situation? And you are constantly processing those moments with Jesus in different scenarios, in the mundane, in the family. What would your kids look like? If around the family meal, instead of when your kid does something wrong, you don't go, you are bad, you are terrible. You are saying, okay, let me understand. Let me point you to Jesus because I don't know how to help you. I don't know what to do. I'm struggling with my kids. What do I do? And you go, Jesus is your friend. Maybe talk to Jesus. Let's have these conversations. Let's do this. What would our lives look like? Because this one man named Zacchaeus had one moment with Jesus, one lunch with Jesus, or dinner, whatever it was, and he had one conversation, and it radically changed his life. And we have the privilege of being able to have more than just one. We have conversations with him every single time. And I believe it's going to change you and it's going to change me. And we're going to be a church that looks a lot like Jesus. Because friendship with Jesus changes us. Last but not least, Jesus wants to befriend them. Jesus wants to befriend them. Now, my aunt, I moved to an area where I lived with my aunt in the location, and she always referred to me as the good kid. Like my mom, she was like, Wanga is a good kid and all of that. So she used to say to me, Wanga, you see those kids there? Those ones that do that and drink and run around in the streets? You are back at 6 p.m. home. Yo, she's laughing because she knows that 6 p.m. means 6 p.m. Not 6:05, not 6:01, 6 p.m. You better be back. And I don't want to see you hang out with those guys. And when she told me, nah, not those guys. But she never took a moment to consider that I was those guys. Yeah, there was another aunt somewhere saying, yo, that Wanga kid. 6 p.m., I don't want to see you around him. But the reality is that the part of the story I skipped is where the religious leaders are looking at all this happening with Zacchaeus. And they go, Jesus, you. Sorry, my black accent came out. I mean, Jesus. Jesus, you and this dude named Zacchaeus. Like, you shouldn't be doing this, Jesus. Like, do you understand how bad this man is? Have you ever heard of the saying, your vibe attracts your vibe? Your vibe attracts your tribe. English, tough, but we're going to get there. Your vibe attracts your tribe. Well, this tribe that Jesus was getting into, he shouldn't be seen hanging around these people. In fact, the religious leaders, they're like, Jesus, you're an outstanding man. You're supposed to be a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi. Like, there is some prestige that comes to this. And you're out here hanging out with Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus, of all people. He's them. We don't hang out with them. They are terrible people. They steal from us. They do bad things. They don't just do bad things. They're just bad people. But we are not them. We're good people. We follow the law. We read our Bibles every day. We come to church every Sunday. But them, they shouldn't be here. I hope that breaks your heart. Because we are them. We are them. There isn't us and them. Otherwise, we just stand here pretending we are the religious leaders that are doing all things correct, and we don't see our need for Jesus. I had to come to a point where I said, I need you, Jesus. I've tried so hard to be good, to try to get it all together, but I can't. They thought Zacchaeus was in a tree, but they were also on another tree. And both of them needed to come down and meet Jesus. Why? Because one day, he was going to be up on that tree. They can't sustain the pain and the pressure that comes with being on that tree. They can't pay for their own sins, no matter how good they are. Although Zacchaeus gave back 400%, he can't pay back what he did. He had to come down. The religious leaders had to come down and meet Jesus. But they didn't want to. Zacchaeus wanted to. I don't know where on the spectrum you are. There's another guy, his name is Matthew. This wasn't in my first preach, but his name is Matthew. But he also finds himself in a similar position as Zacchaeus because he's a tax collector. And the religious leaders are complaining and or doing all these kind of things, like, why are you hanging out with Matthew? I don't know why they do the same thing over and over again. But they're saying all these things, and Jesus says to them, I did not come for the whole. Well, a doctor, help me here, Warren. A doctor doesn't, you don't go to a doctor. Oh, man. Yeah, a doctor does not come for the healthy, he comes for the sick. And he goes on to say, go and learn what all this means. I hope they would have learned that lesson and went and learned what it meant. Because here he tells them, I have come to seek and to save the lost. He repeats the same message differently. But the truth for us today is that there is no us, there is no them, there isn't black and white, there isn't Indian, there isn't those people in my office that act a certain way, that never do their job, and I must just grumble and complain about them. But actually, we can introduce those people to Jesus. They can meet Jesus and get their lives changed. Whatever them is in your life, I know I have them. I know you have them. And we want those to come to God and encounter Jesus. This is why I tell you guys about belong to build. We've decided as a church that we're not going to be up on our tree judging the world, saying, look at those people. Look at how bad they are. We've decided as a church that we want to be known for bringing them here. Say, you belong here. This is where you should be. And this is where Jesus needs you. You need to have an encounter with Jesus, just like many of us did. And we're going to go out of our way. We're going to get creative for you to come and come to a place where you can belong. So we're doing a campaign in January, which is exciting because that's when all the people are coming around. And some people are like, I need to check out this church thing. New year, new me, new Jesus, let's go. But we want to leverage that and say, hey, you are welcome here. You can be here. You're amongst family. You can belong. And we want to invite you to be part of that story. Go and bring them and say, you belong here. You can be a friend of Jesus. Jesus wants to befriend you. Together we can build to belong.